Well, good morning. I wanted to take you out and show you the back gardens today. I haven't taken you and shared the back gardens with you, but I'm not able to do it. It's winter weather out there this morning. So it's right at 10 o'clock, about 10 till, and this is the weather. I don't know if you can tell, it is raining and there's ice mixed in with the rain. And they're calling for that. It's supposed to do this for about 4 hours. So it's wintry, weathery, and I'm not able to take you and show you the back gardens. Now this is nothing new to a gardener. Many times we make plans to get out there and garden or to get something done and the weather doesn't cooperate, or we've got sudden things that come up that we have to handle in life and we have to put things on the back burner. Well, it being winter like it is, well, it's the end of fall really. It won't be winter time until December 21st. We've got a little ways to go, just a week or two. But when winter does get here, that will be a whole different ball game. That's the time when the garden's asleep. We've put it to sleep. We've put it to rest. We've cut things back. We've covered things up to overwinter. And we're just giving it a break. But there's always something to do in the garden. Well, today, since it's winter weather, I'm just going to get out my gardening book and I'm going to plan some things for this garden coming up this spring. And we'll put in a little bit of planning.
And we both looked at each other and kind of giggled and thought, the emergency room for a stomach ache? It's the stomach flu. Why are you sending this to the emergency room?
We don't think that we have to think about things as much as we do. I'm a spontaneous gardener myself. I just love to get out there and just put things where I like them. And sometimes I'm in a hurry and I only have a little bit of time, so that I'll just put things out there so that I can get them out before they dry up and die. Or, I only have this small window of time, so I've got to get out there and just throw them out there somewhere. And my garden reflects that. Now, I love that style because I've got a wild edge to me. I love wildflowers. I love herbs and different things. I like to mix my garden. If you've been around, you'll know that it's not a formal garden. Not formal at all. But this year, I'm wanting to take a little bit of time to go ahead and think things through. Not that I haven't with what I've got, but this garden that I've got out here now has evolved over 40 years. It wasn't planned. I didn't sit down and plan it all out at once. I added to and took away and formed and just curated this garden over 40 years. I think in one of my comments, somebody commented, "I love your hodgepodge garden." Well, I don't really think it's a hodgepodge. I think it's more of just a naturalized garden that evolves over the time that I've been taking care of it. And part of me really loves that. But as this garden ages and as some plants out there are no longer as young and vibrant, they're no longer what I need, I have to kind of sit down and rethink the garden every year. What am I going to leave in? What am we going to take out? How is it going to be? And so this garden journaling, where you can write down some of your ideas or some of the things that you plan to do, you really, if you jot them down, you can always refer back to them. Of course, if you want to put them on a computer, if you want to keep up with it technologically, that's of course something you can choose to do. But there's something that I like to just sit down, write it out, and see it and make changes. Try to put down what I want. That's a good place to start. Don't underestimate planning your garden, because it's more valuable than you realize. Now, my husband's a real go-getter. He loves to get out and he loves to do physical work, and he likes to physically work from sun up to sundown if he can. And I like physical work myself. I enjoy some of the gardening, but not to the point that he does. I realize that there's other things that you have to do. You have to take a minute to plan. You have to take a minute to think about what plants are doing well, what plants really don't belong there anymore. And it's just a lot of thought and planning that needs to go into it so that it works the way you want it to. So when it's a cloudy, rainy, snowy day and you don't get to physically go out and do what you plan, it's always wonderful to have the time to sit down and plan some things in your garden. So that's what I'm doing today. These are 3 things that I'm kind of concentrating on planning today. And then, of course, I love to read the books. I love to read over my gardening books. It brings a lot of joy just to go through these. And these are just a few I've got pulled out for today. And it refreshes me and it encourages me and it just plants good ideas in my mind for where I'm heading in the future and what I'm going to do. This is one of my favorites. You know, I don't know if I shared this with you. This might be a revolution to you today. In our back gardens, we do a no-dig, no-till method of organic gardening that we've started. It took a few years to start it. Now, Charles Dowding in his book will tell you can prepare a place, and he's got a YouTube channel, excellent resource to show you how to start a no-dig, no-till garden. Now, out and where we're at, we had, I might have already shared this with you, but we had a huge maple tree out there that we planted when we first moved here. So it was about 35 years old, and you know, it was huge, and a storm had hit it and broken out the top of it, and then it just splayed out different than we wanted it to. It spread out differently, and it became dangerous. Every storm we had, we would go out there and there would be big limbs. One time a big limb covered the back steps, and I couldn't even get down the steps to feed the animals that day. And when my uncle came, it was really Donald's, but I claimed him as my own, came and cleared that walkway for me so that I could get out the back steps and go feed the little animals that we've got out there, our chickens and our rabbits and such. I had a dog out there at that time. And we decided that tree needed to come down because it was getting dangerous. It was just losing a lot of limbs, and it was a tight space. That tree had gotten huge. And so Donald, hired professionals to come out there and take that tree down. But instead of hauling the wood away and the wood chips, from where they cut, he decided to just leave the wood chip pile out there and the wood. We burned the wood in our little fire pit. We've got a little fire pit. We sit around. The grandkids love it. In the summer, they like to roast marshmallows and hot dogs. And in the winter, they just like to go out there and start it and stand around it and tell stories, especially around October. So we decided just to leave that. Well, those wood chips, I think we let them age. I think it was at least 4 to 5 years that they stayed out there in their big pile. And Donald occasionally forked them around and moved the chips in there, and they broke down. And when we started our no-till garden out there, our little vegetable garden, which we've always had a vegetable garden at this house, it just kind of moved around a little bit as the trees and things got older and the sunlight changed. We moved those things around, and I think it's finally where it's going to be for a while. And when I give you that backyard garden tour, you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. I'll bring some of these points back. But that we took those age-old chips. Donald dug off all of the grass on that little garden, and we put that in the compost pile, and then we laid those 4-year-old chips all across our little garden. And then, of course, we had dirt and compost over that had composted that we went ahead and put on the garden. And then we planted it. We planted our little vegetable garden. Now, over the first few years, we got like, one year we got 365 pounds of produce out of that one small garden. And when I show them to you, you'll remember. And then with the pumpkins and everything, I think it turned out to be like 385 pounds. Now think about that. That's almost 400 pounds of food coming from a small vegetable plot out in the backyard. And it's wonderful. We always have tomatoes. We always have cucumbers, squash, yellow squash, and zucchini. And those are our staples that we always have. And of course, we add many other things to that as we try. We don't grow a lot of beans because we don't have a lot of space to grow beans. And I know that you don't need a huge amount of space to grow beans. There's plenty of people growing beans up the side of their fences. But for us, we buy our beans mainly from the farmer's market. And we just might grow a few here or there. But beans are not a priority in our garden. And then we have the little garden up the hill, which is the kids' garden. And we plant things that they like to harvest there, which is usually cucumbers and the little cherry tomatoes, which we call them tomatoes. And then there are other things that we'll plant in the upper garden. But that's what we do on a cold day that we can't get out. We stay inside and make plans. That's what I'm doing today. So I'm jotting down some plans. Now I'll add this whole little notebook to that binder that I've got. I'll just stick it right in that binder. And in that binder, I'll just have to do a whole video on the gardening binder and what's in that and why. But today I'm just sharing with you how, putting together some plans makes all the difference in the world. And when it's a snowy or a rainy day or a real cold winter day and there's not much you can go out there and physically do, it is wonderful that you can. Oh, I splashed tea on it. On my book. I think it'll be okay. But anyway, I get out here and I make these, I'll come in here and make these plans. Now, it's a lot easier to make the plans, to think about what you're doing when you're going out there and looking around and come back and jot it down, or even take your notebook out there and jot it down as you're going around. It's a lot easier to do that, and you won't forget. You won't forget by the time you get back in. By the time you've went around and looked at 1,000 things and you've put your tools up and you're doing all this thing, if you can just come in or take your notebook and jot down what you're planning, it helps a lot. And then when you get started, when it starts warming up and things start getting ready to garden, oh my goodness, I can refer back to my notes and I can see where I need to start this year. I can see what I've planned, and that goes a long way. So don't underestimate the power of planning, the power of just getting a simple paper and a pen and sitting down and putting out some ideas that you're planning or would like to do come spring. When things start thawing out and it's time to put out new things and do some new things, just add in there all of the plans that you've made over the winter, like we're doing today. So planning is an excellent way to keep gardening in mind, making a list of what you might want to plant in your garden, whether that be your floral gardens or your vegetable gardens. Well, I'm glad that you joined me today. Even though it's rainy and everything, we can at least be making some plans for our gardening. I love gardening. I'm going to be reading the gardening books because I so enjoy those. These are just a few that I pulled out today to read. Thank you for joining me today and let me share some of these things with you. I hope you continue to follow the joy of gardening and that you can glean some stuff out. There's some good things coming up. Like always, until next time.